Thinking of studying in Europe but not sure about the cost? From tuition to living expenses, we're breaking down the most affordable and the most expensive countries for international students in 2025. Let's find your perfect budget-friendly study destination. First up, Germany. Most public universities are tuition-free, even for international students. The only exception? If you're in Baden-Württemberg, you'll pay about 1,500 euros per semester. But that's still incredibly affordable. Most German universities are public, so you will only have to pay an administration fee, which usually costs between 100 to 350 euros per semester. This fee covers the student organization services and your enrollment. There are exceptions to this tuition-free rule, however. If you don't finish your degree course on time and you study in Bremen, Lower Saxony, Saarland, Saxony, Saxony-Anhalt, or Thuringia, you may have to pay tuition fees. Not only can you study for free in Germany, but it is also a pretty affordable country. The average costs of living for students range between 700 to 1,000 euros per month, including accommodation. Next up we have France. In France, public universities charge around 2,770 euros per year for a bachelor's, and about 3,770 for a master's. Elite schools and private universities can go up to 30,000 euros, but the lifestyle, culture, and food are priceless. To attract more international students, both public and private universities in France have been increasing the number of English-taught study programs in their academic offer. There are over 1,500 courses taught in the English language, and the number is growing every year. Depending on whether you find yourself in a big city or not, the cost of living in France can be quite different. However, compared to the rest of Europe, France can be quite pricey. In general, you should prepare about 700 to 1,200 euros per month to cover your student living costs. In more expensive cities like Paris, you'll need around 1,200 to 1,800 euros per month. Next, the Netherlands. Known for top English-taught programs, but they come at a price. 6,000 to 15,000 euros a year. Add living costs of up to 1,500 euros per month and it's not the cheapest. But scholarships do exist. There are several types of financial aid in the Netherlands, but mostly you will find scholarships for good academic performances funded by universities or the Dutch government, bursaries and grants given by the government based on students' financial needs. For more specific information, visit the Dutch government's page on student finance, student-specific scholarships for students coming from certain backgrounds, loans offered by the Dutch government to cover study tuition fees. Typically, students in the Netherlands spend on average between 800 euros and 1,200 euros per month. The differences in living costs mainly depend on the city you choose to live in. For instance, Amsterdam has the highest cost of living in the Netherlands. In this city, rent prices in the private market often start from 750 euros per month. Meanwhile, in smaller Dutch cities, the cheapest student accommodation in a shared apartment or house can be as low as 250 euros per month. Sweden offers modern education with a strong research focus, but for non-EU students, tuition ranges from 8,000 to 20,000 euros per year. The good news? You can work while studying and apply for a one-year job search visa after graduation. Living costs in Sweden are not exactly a bargain, but in this country paying more really means getting more in return, in terms of quality of life. The monthly student budget here is around 700 to 1,200 euros per month. Studying in Sweden is likely to make you feel relaxed. Yes, students need to work hard and expectations are high, but the higher education system is also very flexible and informal. Popular student pastimes include team sports, cultural societies, and outdoor activities, performed very well dressed. There's also a great nightlife, with clubs and bars dotting Sweden's cities and student unions organizing evenings out. Finland is climbing in popularity. Expect tuition from 6,000 to 18,000 euros with generous scholarships in some universities. Living costs? Around 1,000 euros per month. In Finland, bustling city life meets peaceful nature scenes within a walking distance. The towns and cities accommodate activities for all seasons and provide plenty of opportunities for exploration or relaxation. The average monthly living expenses for a student in Finland are approximately 700 to 900 euros. This may vary a bit, depending on your study location in Finland. For example, accommodation and other living costs may be higher in the Helsinki metropolitan area and other cities. If you want sunshine and savings, Spain's public university fees are low, between 1,000 and 3,500 euros a year. Private universities are more, but overall living costs are very manageable. Depending on the city, the type of accommodation, student residence halls versus rented flat, and the exact location of your housing, prices for accommodation range between 250 and 1,000 euros per month. Prices for rent are the highest in cities like Madrid and Barcelona. Choosing a student residence will save you some money as the price for a room is usually between 350 and 650 euros per month. Italy is surprisingly affordable. Tuition is around 1,000 to 4,000 euros per year, with generous regional grants for international students. Imagine studying in Florence, Milan, or Rome, without breaking the bank. Tuition fees in Italy depend on the university, the type of degree, and the student's economic condition. On average, tuition in public universities is between 0 euros and 5,000 euros per year, and in private universities between 3,000 euros and up to 35,000 euros per year. Some universities might have higher tuition fees for non-EU/EEA students, but in most universities, there is not a big difference between EU and non-EU students. You can apply for financial aid after being accepted through IC or other programs your university offers. Many universities have lower fees for students from developing countries and non-OECD countries. The average cost of living in Italy for a student could range from 700 euros, 1,500 per month. This amount will depend on the city you're living in, the type of accommodation you're staying in, and your other personal expenses including food, travel, and entertainment. So what's the best value? Cheapest tuition Germany and Italy, best scholarships Finland and France, English taught options Netherlands and Sweden. Pick what fits your goals and your budget. Studying in Europe doesn't have to be expensive. Do your research, apply early for scholarships, and choose a country that fits your lifestyle. Which one's on your list? Drop it in the comments.